Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And that's right, you saw the thumbnail and title. We are about to do 2 billion damage with Ice Wallenstein from the Danmachi collab. Now, earlier in the year, my chat was always talking about the integer limit, and I, being not mathematically sound, have no fucking clue what that means. Apparently, this is the hard damage cap of like the largest number that the game could produce in terms of coding and playability and all that. It's a very simplified, probably not quite correct way to say that. But the most important thing to note is that the damage cap is around 2.14, 2.17 billion damage in there. And using Ice and a number of other characters who may not have been on your radar, we could actually get her to do 2 billion damage in Inferno 1 beatdown battle. Because she has quite a bit of power to her. We've got the wind attack, we've got the enhanced Drago state, 25% extra to all damage buffs. We have the stacking weakness strike and wind attack, and this is going to be really, really impactful for this run. And we're going to combine that with a few different things. So let's take a look at the team. So this is what we're going to be running. We've got not Hestia, but 3rd anniversary Divine General Elmesia. What is she doing? She's stacking attack. She's sealing the resistances, which doesn't really matter here. But she's also skill resetting down to their base costs. And that's going to be really important. And it's the thing that people wanted Hestia to do, but she doesn't have. She has the extra 110 skill points. But Elmesia is actually able to be a better protector overall. We've got Fern, and that is like the one substitutable character. I've seen people use Divine General Diablo, I've seen people use Fern. You could use really anyone you want that has a big time damage buff skill to help Ice do more damage, whether it be crit, pierce, or synergy, because Elmesia will seal the Orc's resistance to all 3 of those, so you could do whatever you want. But then we have Protector of Peace free-to-play Geld, and he's very important because he is A, an orb changer, and B, his second skill stacks weakness strike down and gives green orbs a permanent 50% skill point buff. And this is going to be really, really important because the more skill points we have means the more stacks of Bell and Ice we can use. Shuna is our generic orb changer. She can alt swap Ice. She has the green buff and the multi skill. Ice herself is the nuker, and then we have Bell, who's going to be stacking alt damage, stacking pierce power, and just in general being a very good support for Ice. Now this is a very, very long run, so let me make a cut and we'll take you to the actual thing. Alright, so starting the fight, we are starting with 42 skill points, and we're doing this because I want to convert turn 1 and use Geld's buff, and everything else. So Bell is also on Protector of Peace, which means that Geld can convert his orbs and Bell's orbs. So we're going to modify, we've changed the team around to make sure that we can do that. So we're going to use the Bell skills, the Shuna skill, not the orb change, but the multi skill. We'll use Geld's skill change, or orb convert, and then the green buff. And so now we've got 5 skills used already in 1 turn, and a full hand of greens. So we're going to send this, and that's pretty much what we're going to do the entire time. Elmesia is no longer able to convert like Hestia does, so we are reliant on the Shuna convert and the Geld convert. Kind of unfortunate, but we got a very good turn 2 right here. So here, we could use the orb change with Shuna. We need to get as many skills used as quickly as possible, because we want to get the Ice buff stacked as quick as possible. Up to the full 30% weakness and 30% wind. That is the most impactful stacking buff on this team. It is more powerful than Bell, because she is stacking 2 different things at a higher percentage than what Bell's doing with 25% pierce power. You still want Bell stacks, but you want to prioritize the Ice stacks, and then whatever points left over you use for Bell. So here, we're gonna stack again, Geld's green buff. We want to use 7 to 8 stacks of Geld's second skill to get maximum skill points, and that will allow us to have enough points on the nuke turn to do everything, and to have enough points along the way to get a multitude of stacks. So here, Bell's an alt. Every time he ults, he gives us 20% alt damage. The weakness strike also counts, even though we're not getting the protection buff from Elmesia, because she's not giving the extra damage versus water characters like Hestia is. It still doesn't matter. Like, we're going to be able to overcome that just with the sheer power that we have. So we're getting very, very lucky with our converts. We could either bring Geld in and use his because it's cheaper, or we could bring Shuna in. We're going to have to use Shuna regardless because we want to alt swap Ice away, so we might as well just do that. But we want to use a Geld stack. It's okay to make him a little bit more expensive sometimes, using him, once or twice before resetting, because Elmesia can reset them back down to their base level, so we can always go back to 15 cost anytime we want to. But we want to be strategic about it. We want to use the points in a way that we can maximize the stacks here. So, we're up to 30% now with Ice. Like, that's done. So she is capped out. We just need to use her over and over and over and over again. We don't need to use a certain number of skills prior to. But we want to make sure we use her first, and then anything left over we give to Bell's skill. Because again, the 25% Pierce Power is not as strong as the 30 and 30 that Ice is doing. But this is the run. It's going to take forever because we're using a lot of skills. It is just Divine General 2.0 at this point. We've got Elmesia, we've got multi-skills, we've got stacking things we have to use a lot of. This is going to run you the same amount of time as a normal Divine General team would, with the Diablo multi-skill and the stacks of Raphael and the Gazel Orb changes. Like, they're essentially the same. So, we're going to bring Geld in for Shuna. Actually, do we do that? Is that a good idea? I want to leave Ice up so we could use a lot of her skills when we reset, but I also not sure what I want to do here. I think we're going to do that. Alright, so we've made a critical error, but I think we're going to be okay. We're going to send 5 greens here because unfortunately Ice is not on Protector Piece, so we can't use the Geld convert, but I want the stacks of Geld, and I want that reset. So 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 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 boom. At this point, it doesn't matter what order you use the skills in. Like, Ice being last doesn't have a difference because it's fully capped out at 30%. But I want to use another stack of Geld, another stack of Ice, and then anything else that we have can go to Ice and then Bell's stack. We're on turn 4. We're halfway done, and I feel like I've been talking for 2 years. So 53 points, don't have a lot to do there. Let's take Geld out now. We'll bring Fern in, and then we'll send the 5 orbs. We are going to get a lot of points back, and we are going to get Elmesia, and that's the most important thing, is having the reset almost every turn. So, boom. Alright, not a great hand here. And we have the seal. Or, not the seal, but the bind. However, Fern, with her accessory, has a guaranteed dodge against bind, and we played into that strength. So on turn 4, you want Fern up front with her hair accessory, because then you are free to swap Geld in, and then you're free to swap Shuna in, because you can dodge the bind. And that's why I brought Fern instead of like Divine General Diablo or something. You could still do that. It's just that you would have to maybe play and make sure that Shuna, Bell, and Ice are up front on turn 4. But just keep that in mind. That's something you're going to want to do. But we've orb changed with Geld. We changed the 2 Bell orbs, and then we brought Shuna in, and we can change those remaining orbs and alt swap Ice. And then we've got a whole bunch of stacks to use. So let's, again, prioritize the Ice buff. 1, 2, 3, and then we could start using the Bell skill. Actually, we could just use full Ice if we wanted to. Yeah. Always prioritize the Ice buff. And then we're also getting weakness strike stacks from Shuna's alt, alongside the weakness strike from Bell and the 20% alt damage from his stance, which I think is bugged right now. There was a notice in the news that I posted about today saying that the 20% damage isn't taking effect immediately, it's taking effect at the end of the turn, which it's not supposed to do that. So let's see. Alright, so many different things popping up, taking up all my time. Alright, 333 points, fine. Let's use the multi-skill. Let's use the orb change from Shuna now, because I want to bring Geld in and reset him, more importantly, because I want those stacks. But, we don't quite change the orbs that I want to. So Ice still has that 1 blue, which means we're going to have to reset here with Elmesia. Instead of resetting Geld, we're resetting Shuna, so we could orb change a second time. And it's just, if we had been lucky and Shuna had all changed the ice orbs, then we would have been probably okay, but it didn't work out. But we're still going to use a stack of Geld because I want those skill points, and then we're just going to do everything else with the stacks for Ice and Bell. So it's a very, very long team. And you do need Geld, you do need Bell, you do need Ice, you do need Elmesia. The only character who is not negotiable on this team, if you're trying to do 2 billion damage, is Fern. So just keep that in mind. I did try to do Xion, the tail Xion, and it wasn't that good. So I don't know if crit is just horribly underpowered at this point in the game's lifespan, but just keep that in mind. We're not going to use the Ice buff until turn 8 when we're ready to nuke, because I want to dedicate all the upcoming points to the Ice stacks and the Bell stacks and the Geld stacks, which we have quite a few Geld stacks now. We're about capped out. That's a good looking hand, so let's bring Geld in. Let's reset with him. Boom. We have a double Elmesia, so we could reset him this turn, and we could reset Shuna, which is going to be really, really important. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 5. Yeah, 5 skills. Sorry, math. All right, but that is, I think, our final stack of Geld that we're going to use for skill points, because everything else is going to go to the multi-skill and then Bell and Ice. So this is good, though. This is the run that I wanted, and it actually took me quite a while to get this done. It took me almost a day, because I just kept missing stacks. I wasn't quite sure in the beginning which ones were more important, Bell or Ice's. We discovered that it's Ice's stacks, and then we had that run with Xion, and it didn't go very well. But here we are. This is the run that I wanted to make a video on and show everybody. So this is now our second character who can hit the integer limit damage cap. The first one being Tails Hinata in Jubilee. She was hitting the 2.1 something billion damage with her full meta, just because she's got a lot of personal strong stacking things as well. And she could be type advantage against a lot of different elements with the power of the Slime Xion from that collab. But there we are. Full hand of greens. We're getting 396 skill points back, which is hefty. And now we're ready to nuke on turn 8. And we're doing, what, 19 million damage right there? 3 point... No. something ridiculous. So we don't even have the buff on yet. So now let's bring Fern in. Let's use the multi-skill one more time because it's free from Shuna. We'll bring Fern in. We'll use the 2 big-time buffs. Boom and boom. We don't need to use Fern's other skill because synergy and magic damage doesn't matter here. But now we have another 100% wind attack buff, which is actually 120 because of the Drago effect. And now let's take a look, once we're done stacking here, at how much of everything that we've got. Because that's going to be the funny numbers. It's going to look funny, and it's going to help us do funny damage. So, prioritizing the ice stacks. 1, 2, 3. That's why it's so important to have a lot of skill points leading up to turn 8. And then 4, and then we have 20 points left over we could use for Bell's Pierce Power. And now looking at the damage, Ice has 120% ult damage. That's coming from the stacks that Bell has given over the course of the fight. And then EX ult damage by 100%, that's coming from Fern. Okay. And then going and clicking on Ice herself, we have 198.75 attack, and that's coming from Elmesia stacks, and then the extra 25% buff from Ice. We have another 12.5% from a Barrier Stone, so thank you, Union. We have 593.75% Pierce Power coming from Bell. We have 1,460% Weakness Strike. Now, that is coming from 3 different things. Ice's own personal buff, because it stacks Wind Attack and Weakness Strike. That's coming from the Bell ult, and it's coming from the Shuna ults that we've sent. So all those combined together, almost 1,500% Weakness Strike. And then we have 1,047.5% Wind Attack. And that is coming from the Ice skill. Just the Ice skill, nothing else, because no one else gives Wind Attack on this team now. And then scrolling further down, we've got all the debuffs and everything. Cool, cool, cool. But we have the attack trait, 7.5%. That's from her support slot. We have the 125% wind attack coming from the aerial skill from Ice. Remember, it's 100%, then enhanced by 25, giving us 125. And that is working on top of the 1,000% wind attack that we have already stacked with her. So, this is what makes us do 2.1 billion damage off of the main protector. But we have 80% weakness resistance down. Those are coming from Geld stacks. We have alt resistance down from breaking the Orc's barrier. And then 100% alt resistance down from the Fern skill as well. So let's go ahead and nuke this motherfucker into the ground. We are going to send the Bell alt first, because he does not do that much damage. Like, not without the protection character from Hestia or something. So Bell, he's going to give us more weakness strike and more alt damage. And then I wanted to send one Ice Orb just to see how much it did. And it did... what number is that? 192 million damage? Or something like that? Like, maybe 19 million damage, because I can't see. But here's the big number. Here's the one that actually matters. And it's a really funny thing. Alright, Lil Rafaga, and we do a magical 2.147 billion damage. 2,147,483,647. And that is the highest number you could get in the game right now. It does not go higher. It's such a very specific number because of, again, math things that I don't get. But that is the damage cap done with Danmachi, Collab, Ice, Bell, Shuna, and then the power of Elmesia. Not on Divine General, or not with a bunch of other Divine General characters, but with Geld and Danmachi units. So, if you can build this team, or some semblance of it, and you want to try and do the biggest Big Mommy damage that we can get in this game, have fun. It could take a little while, depending on, your team builds and dupes and gear and stuff and your RNG. But if you want to do ultimate big time Big Mommy damage, this is how to do it. So let me know what you guys think, but that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.